Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about Compulsion Games' upcoming video game called South of Midnight. Now, this particular video game is getting advertised pretty heavily right now, and I'm assuming that's because they're coming close to release time. And this is the video game that all the DEI shills are trying to virtue signal with. This is the one that they're trying to say, oh, the chuds are angry because this game looks amazing. This game looks great. They're just mad because there's a black female in it, blah, blah, blah. Well, apparently, now we have some posts that are resurfacing, and rightfully so, to remind everybody what kind of a developer Compulsion Games actually is, and what some of the people who work there regarding, their game South of Midnight, what some of them have done online and their viewpoints on not just people in general, but gamers as a whole.
Ever since I was little, I kinda knew that I wasn't the ideal skin tone for the world. I'm African American, and I'm not just, your typical African American. I am extremely dark, and it's always somewhat been a problem.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I have this video playing on screen because this video is the one that they used to advertise the game recently. They did it on December 28th, 2024. And this particular video showcases to me not amazing gameplay. It actually looks pretty damn buggy, to be honest with you, because you could see the enemy here kind of twitching out. And I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe the main protagonist froze that enemy. But for some reason, then the second enemy just completely disappears and doesn't ever attack the main character. It's a very odd thing. There's nothing showcased here that says that this character stun locked permanently, killed the other enemy or whatever. It looks like the AI is bugging out, in my opinion. And on top of that, too, the animation for this looks very, very subpar, mainly because of their use of stop motion animation, which is something they're going with in this video game that I am not a big fan of in video games. Movies is something different, but video games, not really a fan. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, we got a post here from Kyle. Shout out to you, man. He says, Compulsion Games hate gamers and seeks to rewrite history as hard as they want to redefine racism. They know where to shove their mandatory DEI sweet baby in-game. If highlighting their own words makes me anti-woke, oh no, LOL. Now, again, really quick, this game does have SBI's involvement. That's number one. We showcased the entire history of this game, where somebody over at this particular studio decided to leak the fact that this game was going to be a white female-led game, and then once SBI was hired, it ended up being changed to a black female-led game. That's just something that we talked about for many times over the last few months. And then on top of that, too, we also on Hypnocast watched a documentary from Compulsion Games where they were going over this video game and talking about it, and not once did they ever showcase gameplay, and not once did they ever actually talk about gameplay. All they did was talk about identity politics and history. Now, the history thing I totally get, because it's a game that's based in the actual South, and they're trying to showcase real history, but unfortunately, they're not going to do that, right? They're going to showcase history through their eyes, the way that they want to see it, the way that they want to remember history, not the way that it actually happened, which is unfortunate. But we have some screenshots here from Katie Pikachulita, which we've done videos on before, but let's just give a little bit of a reminder because a lot of people probably don't know about this. But Pikachulita says, honestly, I hate gamers. And then you see her profile here, she, her, bi-pan, femme, history alumni, with changemaker, DEI consultant, community manager at Compulsion Games. Now, she got her name thrown around back when all of the community managers were getting roasted for doing nonsense like this. And this is why these games get bad reputations. This is why these games get bad press, because it'll take one person to ruin it for everybody else. And they let these people continue to do that because they don't want to cross the line into racism. They view that, okay, if you criticize Pika, whatever her name is, if you criticize her, then that automatically makes you racist, misogynistic, a bigot, whatever. And these people are scared of being called words that have no meanings anymore. Anyway, she says, we also need to be very honest about the elephant in the room. The majority of the perpetrators are white adjacent, cis, hetero men. Katie then says that she quote tweeted, the sheer level of scum-sucking filth that permeates the gaming community is abhorrent. I'm disgusted to even have an interest with so many terrible people. Then she says, I gotta ask, What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Again, having a complete and utter meltdown, not even just a little while ago. And then you have here a post from Compulsion Games talking about what they plan to do with this game South of Midnight. If you look, there's a top post here that says many people or many video games are the product and look to recreate and remaster these stories, and important to reconsider the implications. Our part to rewrite history, not repeat it. We applaud our peers. Okay, that was the original post. They edited this post into this here, what you see. It says many video games are a product of the times they were created in. As we look to recreate and remaster these stories for modern audiences, it's important to consider the implications of these harmful portrayals and part to rewrite new history, not repeat it. Now, if you look, they edited this, okay? They went from we're going to rewrite history to we're going to rewrite new history. They had to change it because their agenda got a little bit too exposed, let's just say. They were a little bit too honest in the first post. So they re-edited it and they put new history in there. That way, nobody can come after them for wanting to actually rewrite history, which is what we know they want to do, right? It's pretty obvious. If you watch the documentary based on Compulsion Games, you'll realize very quickly that these people absolutely want to rewrite history. They want to be activists and completely change everything that has happened in the South. They don't want to admit that any of it is true. And this is why they never learn from history, because they're too busy trying to run from it or hide it. Then it looks here, Tomb Raider actually retweeted this. And it says Crystal Dynamics has condemned the offensive depictions of people in the cultures, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about the trigger warning, right? The trigger warning that was in the recent Tomb Raider game. Well, apparently Compulsion Games loves trigger warnings. It says, we applaud our peers at Crystal Dynamics for their reflections and corrections. Okay. Now, keep in mind, if you see here on the bottom right of this screenshot, when you look at the actual list that Sweet Baby Inc. would work with before they took it off their website and tried to hide it because they don't like transparency, one of the people that was on this list was Compulsion Games. So SBI absolutely has infected this game. Do not get it twisted. For those of you who didn't know, well, now you know. And then Kyle shouted this out as well back in February 15th. Compulsion and Sweet Baby Inc. proudly proclaim their prioritization of the mythical modern audience. So they're going to be constantly chasing this modern audience in the hope they can make some money. And this was from a tweet from Smash JT. The people making games like this are the opposite of talented and get angry at you when you tell the truth. What it quite frankly is that they have a good thing going. Or I should say they had a good thing going for a long time, right? You're talking about almost 10 years of this nonsense that this has been happening with a recent ramp up more so in the last few years. They don't like the fact that YouTubers are affecting their bottom dollar. They don't like the fact that YouTubers are affecting their views. They don't like the fact that their channels are unsuccessful and our channels are booming. They don't like it. They absolutely hate it. So when they see people like Smash JT make a post, when they see people like me make a post, when they see people like Kyle make a post, they do everything they can to try to fill it with as much of their hate as they possibly can. Because ultimately, this is what it comes down to. Hatred, envy, which is a huge part of it, and overall jealousy that they have for our particular channels. So again, guys, South of Midnight is going to be one of those games. Who knows? It might end up being good. Who knows? We have absolutely no idea. But all the patterns are showing us that this is going to be yet another modern audience, Sweet Baby Inc. slop-filled game. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate if you could like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.